Have you ever had one of those mornings, you know the one? You walk into the office, your coffee is still way too hot to drink, you sit down, hit the power button, and just nothing.
Yes, a black screen.
A black screen, or maybe turns on, but Outlook just spins that little blue circle of death at you, just refusing to open.
It's that universal nightmare of the modern worker, isn't it? It's that sudden sinking feeling that your productivity has just slammed into a brick wall.
Right. And your reaction is, it's purely emotional. You panic a little bit, maybe you swear into your breath, and then you just frantically try to find someone to help. But here's the thing we rarely stop to think about. When you reach out for help in a corporate environment, you aren't just shouting into the void. You're actually triggering a massive, sophisticated, and highly structured machine.
That is a great way to put it. It's so easy to think of IT support as just, a bunch of people in a basement running around putting out fires.
Yeah, totally.
But if that were actually true, large organizations, think banks, hospitals, global retailers, they'd collapse in about an hour. What's really happening is a rigorous process. It's called incident management.
And that is exactly what we are unpacking today. We're doing a deep dive into, well, the architecture of a fix. We got this really comprehensive guide to ServiceNow Incident Management in front of us, and it's basically the blueprint for how organizations keep the digital lights on.
It really is. And we're going to move past just the basics of my computer is broken and look at the what, the why, and specifically the mechanics of this whole workflow.
So our mission today is to decode that machinery behind IT support. We want to move you from being, that frustrated user to someone who actually understands the journey of a ticket.
The journey of a ticket.
It sounds like a Lord of the Rings movie, but with more keyboards.
Well, in a way, it is kind of epic because this process, it's the backbone of organizational sanity.
Okay, so let's start with some definitions because jargon is usually where things get messy. When we talk about incident management, especially in the context of ServiceNow, what are we actually talking about? Does a flickering screen count, a forgotten password?
That's a great question. The word incident sounds really serious, right? Like a chemical spill or something.
Yeah, security breach.
Exactly. But in the world of IT service management, and especially within ServiceNow, the definition is, well, it's much broader. An incident is defined as any interruption to an IT service, or even just a reduction in the quality of an IT service.
A reduction in quality. That's interesting phrasing. So if my internet is just slow, not out, sluggish, that's an incident.
Technically, yes.
Yeah.
If it interrupts your ability to do your work at the normal standard, it's an incident. The source material we have lists all the classics. User can't log in, Outlook isn't opening,
VPN not connected.
Printer's not printing, all of those.
The greatest hits of office frustration.
Exactly. But the key here is the goal. The goal of incident management isn't to redesign the whole system or find the root cause of why a server is bad. We'll get to that distinction later. The goal is just speed. It is strictly to restore normal service operation as quickly as possible.
So it's the emergency room, not the wellness clinic.
That's a perfect analogy. Stop the bleeding, get the patient stable, and back to work.
Okay, now before we get into the mechanics of how the ticket moves, I want to play devil's advocate for a second.
Go for it.
Because I think a lot of people feel like filing a ticket is just bureaucratic red tape. Why do we need a management discipline for this? Why can't I just call Bob in IT and tell him my printer's jammed?
Just call in Bob. It's the natural human instinct. But let's try a little thought experiment. Imagine a company with, say, 1,000 employees.
Okay, 1,000 people. Pretty standard mid-sized company.
Right. In a company that size, statistically, how many little IT glitches do you think happen in a day?
Oh, man. I don't know. Dozens? Maybe 100 if they have old laptops?
Easily hundreds. Passwords expire, software crashes, people need permissions, the Wi-Fi gets spotty in a conference room. Now, imagine that company without a formal incident management system. Everyone is just calling Bob.
Bob is going to have a nervous breakdown?
Bob is finished. But more importantly, the organization is finished. This is the chaos scenario described in our source material. Issues get forgotten. If you tell Bob about your printer while he's, eating a sandwich and he doesn't write it down,
it's gone. Vanished into the ether.
Precisely. There's no tracking, no record, and you have no idea who is working on what. You might have 3 different IT people trying to fix the same printer because they didn't talk to each other.
While the CEO's laptop is still broken because nobody picked up that one phone call.
Right. Efficiency is at 0, and frustration is at maximum. Now, contrast that with the after scenario. When you implement ServiceNow Incident Management, Suddenly, you have this single pane of glass. Every single issue is a record. Nothing falls through the cracks because the system just won't let it.
Okay, so the system is the safety net. It catches everything. So let's actually walk through how it catches us. I want to trace the life of a ticket, looking at that ServiceNow workflow, because there's some really cool logic hidden in there.
Let's do it. The life cycle generally has about 6 stages, give or take, and it all starts with, well, incident identification.
Step 1, reporting. This is where I, the user, finally admit I have a problem.
Yeah.
Now, usually I just want to email support, but IT departments are always telling us to use the portal. Why are they so obsessed with the portal?
It's all about structured data. That's a huge part of the ServiceNow philosophy. If you send an email, you might just say, help, it's broken.
Yeah, subject line, urgent, body, nothing works.
Exactly. That tells the IT team nothing. But if you use the portal, the form forces you to categorize. Is it hardware? Is it software? Which application is it? And here's the magic trick self-service.
Oh, is this where the computer tries to fix me before I can even talk to a human?
Sort of. This is something called incident deflection. As you're typing, I can't print into the portal, ServiceNow is smart enough to pop up a knowledge base article that says, hey, have you checked if paper is jammed in tray 2?
So it tries to empower me to solve it myself so I don't even have to file the ticket in the first place?
Correct. And if that works, everybody wins, you get fixed instantly, and the IT team has one less ticket to manage.
But let's say I'm lazy or the paper isn't jammed. I submit the ticket. We move to step 2. Creation and classification.
Yeah.
This is where the ticket gets its name right.
The famous INC number, INC 0001234. But more importantly, this is where we determine its priority. And this is a concept that I think is really misunderstood by users.
I just assume priority means how angry is the person who submitted this.
See, that's the common misconception. But in a formal system like ServiceNow, priority is actually a mathematical equation. It's impact multiplied by urgency.
Whoa, okay. Let's unpack that. Impact versus urgency. What's the difference?
Okay, so impact is the measure of the effect on the business. If one person can't print, that's a low impact. If the entire payroll department can't print checks on payday, that's a high impact.
Got it. That makes sense. And urgency.
Urgency is how quickly the business needs this thing resolved. So if those payroll checks need to go out in 1 hour, that's high urgency. If they need to go out next week, it's low urgency.
So the system takes those two inputs, lots of people affected, plus we need it now, and it calculates the priority.
Exactly. A critical priority ticket, often called a P1, is usually high impact and high urgency. That's the kind of thing that wakes people up in the middle of the night. A single user with a broken mouse, that's probably a P4.
So when I'm screaming that my mouse is a top priority, the system is just mathematically proving me wrong.
It's nothing personal, it's just resource allocation.
Fair enough. Okay, so the ticket is created, it has a number, it has a priority. Now, step 3. Assignment. This feels like the air traffic control tower.
It is, and this is where the efficiency really kicks in. In the old days, a ticket might just sit in a general bucket called the help desk until someone grabbed it. ServiceNow uses something called assignment groups.
How does that work?
Well, based on the data you entered, say you chose network and VPN, the system's routing logic automatically throws that ticket directly into the network engineering group's queue.
Oh, wow.
It bypasses the general help desk entirely.
So it skips the triage nurse and goes straight to the specialist.
Exactly. But here's where it can get messy in the real world. What if you picked the wrong category? What if you thought it was a network issue, but it's actually your laptop?
So I sent it to the wrong team.
Right. And the network team opens it, looks at it, and says, nope, not us. They then have to reassign it to desktop support. ServiceNow tracks all of this. And if a ticket bounces back and forth too many times, managers can see that ping-pong effect and step in.
Ping-ponging tickets. I feel like I've been the ball in that game before.
We all have. The goal of the system is just to minimize that as much as possible.
Okay, so the ticket has finally landed with the right person. Step 4. Investigation and diagnosis. The IT engineer is actually looking at my problem. This is where the clock is ticking, right?
Yes, and in the industry, we call that clock the SLA, the service level agreement.
I hear that term thrown around in contracts all the time. What does it actually mean for the guy fixing my laptop?
It means he has a deadline. Remember that priority we calculated? A P1 ticket might have an SLA of just 1 hour. A P4 might have an SLA of 3 business days. ServiceNow literally displays a countdown timer on the engineer's screen.
No pressure.
Huge pressure. If that timer hits 0 and the ticket isn't resolved, it breaches. And that turns the dashboard red, notifies the manager, and generally causes a bad day for the whole IT department.
So that's why they're so incentivized to fix it fast. It's
Yeah.
not just out of the goodness of their hearts. There's a literal countdown.
Exactly. And during this investigation phase, the engineer isn't just guessing. They're using the CMDB, the Configuration Management Database.
Okay, you're hitting me with a lot of acronyms today. CMDB.
Think of it like a map of the entire city. It shows every computer, every server, every piece of software, and how they are all connected to each other.
Ah.
So if an engineer sees server X is down, the CMDB can show them exactly which business services and which users are attached to server X.
So they can immediately see the blast radius of the problem.
Precisely. It gives them context. They aren't flying blind.
So they investigate, they use the map, they find the issue. Let's say it was that expired password from our earlier example. Now we're at step 5, resolution. They fix it.
They fix it, but they are not done. This is a crucial step that often gets overlooked. They have to document how they fixed it.
The paperwork part.
It's absolutely vital. They enter what are called resolution notes. And if it's a new type of problem they haven't seen before, they might even draft a knowledge-based article right then and there.
I fixed this weird issue, and here's how I did it, so the next person doesn't have to struggle.
Exactly. It's all about building a collective brain. If you don't document the fix, you're just doomed to solve the exact same puzzle from scratch next week.
And finally, step 6, closure. This is where I get that email saying, hey, we fixed it.
And usually the system will ask for confirmation. Is it actually fixed? It won't close the ticket permanently until you, the user, are satisfied, or until a certain amount of time passes without you complaining again.
The speak now or forever hold your peace phase.
Pretty much. And then INC 001234 goes into the archives. Its journey is complete.
So we've walked the path, but I want to zoom out for a second. We talked about the how, but let's go deeper on the so what. Why do companies spend millions of dollars on this software? Is it just to stop people from complaining?
That's part of it for sure, but the real value is in the data. We touched on this with the chaos example, but let's look at trend analysis.
Okay, what does that look like in practice?
Imagine you're the IT director. You don't really care about one broken mouse. But if you pull a report in ServiceNow and you see that 50 mice broke in the last week, all from the same manufacturer,
You got a pattern.
you've got intelligence, you can now say, we need to change vendors. Or if you see 200 password reset tickets every single Monday morning, you might realize the password policy is too complex and people just can't remember them over the weekend.
So it moves IT from being purely reactive,
Yeah,
just fixing broken stuff, to being proactive.
exactly. And this leads to a really important distinction between an incident and a problem. This is a core concept that ServiceNow is built on.
I thought they were basically synonyms.
Not in this world. An incident is the printer is broken right now. A problem is the underlying cause of why the printer breaks every single Tuesday.
So incident management fixes the symptom, problem management finds the cure.
Bingo. And you can't do problem management effectively if you aren't tracking all the incidents properly first. You need that data to see the disease.
That is actually a really powerful shift in perspective. It turns the help desk from, a cost center into a strategic asset.
It does. It allows the business to function at scale. You just can't run a global bank if you don't know why your servers are failing.
Before we wrap up, I want to touch on the career aspect here. The source material mentioned that just understanding this flow is a massive skill set.
Oh, it's huge. If you're looking to get into IT or even project management, understanding ServiceNow Incident Management is like knowing how to use Excel. It's a baseline requirement for the modern enterprise.
Because almost everyone uses it.
Well, it's the market leader, yeah. But it's also because it teaches you how to think logically about workflows. Understanding inputs, routing, SLAs, resolution. That logic applies to almost any business process, not just IT.
So you're not just learning a tool, you're learning how a modern business actually works.
You're learning the operating system of the modern enterprise.
That is a great place to land. So to our listeners, the next time your screen freezes or Outlook betrays you and you feel that little spike of blood pressure, just take a breath. And when you go to that portal to file your ticket, remember, You are not just complaining.
No, you're feeding the machine.
You're initiating a global workflow, calculating impact and urgency, and contributing to a data set that might just prevent this from happening to someone else.
Or at the very least, you're giving an engineer a chance to beat their high score on the SLA timer.
That too. File that ticket with pride, folks. Thanks for deep diving with us into the architecture of a fix. We'll catch you on the next one.
See you then.